when ready. 3, 2, 1, black. First frame, Karl to break. Time running.
Karl wins the lag and breaks in frame number 1. You will see throughout this match that Karl Boy's one of his biggest tools in the locker is his break. He has a massive break, he times it really well and he pots consistently off of it. And he starts off as he means to go on. Karl Boy's against Craig Waddingham. We saw Craig Waddingham in the opening match of the event. He was playing Craig Marsh. A game which he lost against Craig Marsh. And he came through the loser's side. And here he is in the semi-final, one match away from a place in the final. So that adversity of losing to Marshy, put it behind him. And he's had to travel. Yeah, he's okay. Karl Boy's pretty much picking up the pieces of where he left off against Shane Thompson. Shane said that he was excellent in their quarter-final game. Blasted him off the table. And so many frames that we've seen. He spotted something, I think, on the cue ball, perhaps. Maybe just asked the referee to clean it, has he? No? I think something was in his eye line. He's just asking for it to be moved. And how refreshing is that after, well, the last 16 game and the quarter-final matches were riddled with little mistakes backwards and forwards, and the players just couldn't seem to get going for quite big parts of the match. Karl Boy's no mess, no fuss, straight in. And he goes 1-0. So both games just starting. The other semi-final, Callum Singleton against Jimmy Croxton, just getting underway on table 4.
Second frame, Waddingham to break. Trading by 1 frame to nil. Time running.
One of the last balls moving, finds its way to the pocket. We talked about Karl's break, and Craig Waddingham has got one quite similar. Big, powerful break. So the only issue throughout this clearance will be the red on this bottom rail. He needs to get perfect position. I don't think he's ideal here. He wanted to travel another few inches. I think he wants to play the red furthest to the left, drop it in and land on the bottom rail to play the one along the bottom rail, but as you can see, you can't see the potting angle. He's got too much angle on the other one to the left, and I think the one to the right is just too straight. Might be able to nick a bit and stun across. No, he couldn't. And again, just looks a touch straight. This has become awkward now, because if he tries to land on the one at the bottom of the table, then he has to somehow get out for the one to the left-hand side that we spoke about a minute ago. So he's got a tricky clearance now. Just looking to see how much angle he can leave. Straight's no good. Well, he's got a touch of angle, so he's looking at screwing it back to play the red into the big pocket. It's a big middle bag with that yellow guarding. He's overhit that by some margin, but still okay. It is a big pocket. It's a big target. Judged it well, but just nudged the black across. He knew he was going to cannon it, but judged the pace well. And this black up the rail to level things up. And break dish, followed by a break dish. And as I say, after the last 16 match and the quarter final, whereby we didn't have many break dishes at all, it's quite refreshing to see these two start at such a pace, such a good standard. Nothing between them.
Third frame, Karl to break. 1 frame all. Time ready.
It gives me great pleasure to welcome Gareth Hibbett into the commentary box to commentate through this semi-final. Afternoon, Gareth.
Hi, Nick. You okay?
Yeah, very good, thanks. I made sure I got that one right because in the last event, Potsy sat down next to me and I introduced him as Gareth Hibbett.
Oh, right.
Can you imagine the look on his face?
In his own club as well. Yeah.
He wasn't very impressed. So I made sure I got yours right.
Oh, yeah, I was just sort of dipping in and out of it while I was at home. I'm only 25 minutes away, so I thought I'd come and give you a hand.
Yeah,
watch the last couple of games and see some good pool, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, this should be a cracking game. Karl Boys has just been phenomenal throughout this. I mean, he was 5-0 down against Craig Marsh and has come back and won that game. And then he's blasted the man of the moment in Shane Thompson, who's been carving his way through the field. Blasted him off the table 11-6. Shane said that he's barely made a mistake.
Yeah.
And mentioned that Karl's break is absolutely huge. But he's playing really well as I put the jinx on him.
Missed a double there. But it's funny, actually, because I think Craig Lakin was telling me Craig beat Karl in the original winner's side in the first round, and he said Karl really struggled. So he's obviously found a bit of form since that match, because I think Craig beat him 11-6 or so.
Yeah.
It was quite a costly miss on that double because I didn't realise it was open table with just sitting down, so the reds would have been tricky, but he's left him these yellows to go at.
Yep.
As it started with 2 dishes then this match, Nick.
Yep. And I say the last 16 game, I think it was something like frame 20 before we saw breaking dish. So. So it should very quickly be 2-1. I know you had a bit of trouble in the garden, didn't you?
We had a bit of a do last week for a christening for the granddaughter, and we kept a gazebo. We had a couple of gazebos up and kept them up, and it's a bit breezy out there today. And looked out, and they were trying to escape, so a little bit later than planned. Yeah, they're quite big, so it wasn't really a one-man job, but I was the only man there, so it was a one-man job. Yeah, he took those nicely.
Yeah, I did see a picture of you sporting a shirt that, I mean, Paul made a quip, I think, that I'd have been proud of that shirt.
I think a couple of people mentioned that, actually. Yeah, you're right. It was a Nick Finn special. Yeah, it was. I actually got that off my nephew, who's in his 20s and doesn't spend less than £200 on clothes, I don't think. So I wouldn't take that as a bad thing, Nick, to be honest.
No. So you had another tough weekend, didn't you? Didn't have the best of draws.
Yeah, I didn't. Came on Friday to play Karl O'Donoghue, and it was a hit and miss match, really. There was quite a lot of finishes, but some bad frames, and I missed an easy chance to get level with him at 9-all, and that was it, really. When you miss an easy chance, you don't really get another one usually towards the end of a match. So, but yeah, he deserved to beat me. But yeah, it was a tough draw because there was only, I think, 7 or 8 prelims, and that was a prelim to play Jamie Burnett as well. So Jamie went and beat Karl.
Yeah.
Got through possibly 3 or 4 in the loser's side, but it's a long way back when you lose your first one, especially a prelim as well.
Yeah. So, dry one from Craig.
He's left all those yellows in the middle of the table there.
Yep. Should be a fairly dot-to-dot finish. I think the one he's closest to passes to right middle, so...
It's either that or he can take the one that's lowest down the table into the bottom left.
Yep.
Maybe playing a plant first. Yeah, he's just got to be careful where his first yellow goes.
Played at a decent pace. Has that come out? I think it maybe just has.
You always have to hit them a little harder than you think, because the connection with the second ball takes a lot of pace out of the original ball. So it's just about got it there, I think.
Yeah.
It's quite tight.
If he hasn't, he does have an angle on the one to the right where he could just stun off the side cushion and come back, but he's okay. He's got half a pocket. Just drop it in off the knuckle. And should be fairly plain sailing.
Yeah, because the black will go between the gap of the two reds, so he's got either corner pocket for the black, so I think he'll be fine with these.
Mentioned that both these players have got a pretty good break as well, haven't they?
Yeah,
I mean,
they have.
Karl's got a monster. I mean, he would have learnt a good break from 9 ball. You need a big, well-timed break playing with those heavy balls, don't you?
Yeah, you do. And they do practice it a lot, the 9 ball players, because it's so important to them. And then they obviously sort of look at racks and see how balls are breaking, which we don't really do in this game. We just sort of try and control the white and hit them as hard as we can. But
Yeah.
it's different in 9 ball. But yeah, I think Karl breaks with his hand on the table, doesn't he? Whereas most players break bridging across the cushion,
Yeah,
but he gets
yeah.
plenty of power. Good to see him back playing well. He was away for a good 10 years.
Yeah, he was the one. I mean, obviously last year we had a few of the players. We had Jason Shaw, who in spells last year showed just brilliance. I mean, he amazed me. Some of the frames he was taking out just looked so confident. And obviously Chris Melling, Karl Boys, Darren Appleton, and although Darren got furthest, made the final in the grand final, Karl, he just seemed to be the one that was always there. It's kind of showed quite a lot of consistency.
Yeah.
And he's showing it again here.
I think as soon as we went to Supreme Rules, he's played a fair bit of American 8-ball, I think. And
Yeah.
I played him in the grand final, and he did use the rules pretty well, and he was quite clever with some of the shots that he was playing, and he wasn't pushing the boat out, which
Yeah.
a lot of people do because they're not sure on the rules. They just think, oh, I'm at the table, I've got to go for it. But Karl, when he played me anyway, I don't know about the rest of that tournament, but he was playing quite tactically and clever stuff.
Yeah.
But if you're breaking and they're there, he's going to get them most of the time anyway. So.
How are you finding the rules generally? I mean, I've said it quite a few times to different players, but from my own perspective, I've watched quite a lot of frames, and I'm starting to get starting to see the tactical shots slightly more naturally than I was probably the first couple of events.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the same for the players as well, isn't it? The more you play them, then you just start. It becomes part of your mentality. You think, I just noticed something.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've been and played in China, I think 3 or 4 times as well. So
of
that
course,
sort
you've
of
got the
comes from
advantage.
Chinese
Yeah,
rules.
yeah,
So
yeah. Of course.
in that game, there's obviously a lot more scrappy frames, so it comes into play a lot more. Whereas in this game, probably 60-70% of the frames at this level are going to be dishes anyway. So.
Yeah.
But when the opportunity arises, it's just remembering it's there for a lot of players. It's quite easy to forget that shot. Or sometimes you can just even have a skill shot that's like a free go at a skill shot, really. If you don't get your own ball, you can either snooker him or leave a safety. But if you get the skill shot, just carry on and finish the frame. But yeah, it's just remembering the right situations and knowing you can use it to win you the frame.
It's awkward with the rack when there's a ball right on sort of 2 corners, because you've got to get your ball marker in there. And anyway,
Just about got there. Yeah, he's didn't hit those as well. Actually, I don't think, Karl.
no. Craig waiting patiently, watching on. And I notice the referees have now taken to putting the balls in their pockets.
Yeah.
Rather than leaving them on the table. I guess that was a conscious decision
yeah,
from
it's-
Viv, was it?
I think it's a left pocket if it's on the left and a right if it's on the right, something like that. Yeah.
Because I think in the first few events they were kind of like putting him on the cushion, and
then which one was it?
Exactly.
It's a lot to choose from. Balls are nice and open again. He's just the one just behind the black. He's just got to make sure he gets on. Wouldn't want to leave it till last. Try and get on that fairly soon, I think.
Yeah.
Just top this one through. Probably take the middle and then drop on this one behind the black.
And you say don't leave it till last. I mean, obviously, if you can get on it to the sort of at the right angle, you can. It's fairly natural to get onto the black from there. So
yeah,
why
yeah.
would you say don't leave it till last?
I just think if you come slightly wrong on it and you're going to be carrying into balls,
yeah.
Whereas if you play it now, which I think he's just about on it,
Yeah.
he's got 2 or 3 yellows to land on there. He can land on the plant, or he can land on the one to the top corner.
So what we're trying to do here is, if there is a problem area, we're trying to attack that as early as possible in the frame. Yeah,
Definitely.
We just got a little bit of concern. I don't know if that red's covered the path to the right corner, but if it is, it's taken away the natural clearance for him.
Yeah, he's tried to stun up for the plant there, I think. So
Yeah.
he's got to change his route slightly, and I'm not sure this yellow goes into the bottom right. So
Yeah,
decent positional shot now.
I think he's going to have to play the one to left middle and come around 3 cushions for the other yellow into the same pocket for the one on the far right.
That's where he just put his cue as he
Yeah.
looked at. Not 100% sure he can get there, to be honest, on these slidey cloths.
No.
He's more chance of sort of checking it and just coming back down the middle of the table and coming back towards his yellow that's on the blue spot there.
There you can see the red in the path. If that red hadn't gone there, it would have been a fairly simple clearance.
Yeah, it's tight to both corners, this yellow.
Yeah.
It's a tough shot.
Just in a bit of no man's land.
Yeah. I think it probably just goes to this bottom left. Not got a full pocket.
They're easy when you're looking down the barrel, aren't they?
Yeah.
But when it's blind,
No.
no. And
Hit that red quite a lot of the red there, really.
Yeah.
At least quarter ball of it.
of course he's not the red in the middle, but that's just a loss of turn.
Yeah, that's
Effectively.
no problem to him. That he probably played to do that, actually.
Yeah.
Left the reds a little bit messier than he could have done, so Karl's got a bit of work to do.
So anyone recently joining us and new to the rules, so basically we're playing Supreme rules, and the shot is just played there. As long as you're always making contact with your own set to start with, then you can basically pot any other ball, and it's just all you're doing is handing over the table to your opponent. He has to play the ball from where it's from with no penalty.
Yeah, I think he's laying up here. Yeah, like I just said earlier, he won't push the boat out. Karl, he's played these rules a lot in America, and I think he might have won the world title. Did he on an American table?
He did,
American
yeah.
8-ball,
Yeah.
yeah. So.
And a clever shot there, just pushing the red to the side rail, just taking away the natural angle to the one cushion escape. And can he go low?
Thing is, he's opening
Bit
up
of side.
Karl's bad ball by
That's
playing
right.
this one. So
Yeah.
that was what Karl was hoping for, really.
Yeah.
I think that's 3-2.
Yeah, really should be going game here. And Karl will be pleased after getting that dry break to get another chance.
Have you seen many of Craig's games so far, Nick? Or?
He was on the main arena for his opening game against Craig Marsh. He lost, but yeah, I mean, Craig's one of those players, and he's just, you know, when if he hits a purple patch, then, you know, if he starts his backhand going and starts flowing. He lost narrowly to Craig Marsh 11-9, and you know, had his chances,
So both these two lost the first match, so it's been a long way back then.
Yeah.
Long way back to get to this level.
Yeah, for Craig, as I say, lost to Craig Marsh, and then he beat Brian Halcrow 8-4. Michael Lamb 8-2, played Richard Gifford, the Gloucester man 8-6. Played Oli Bell, beat Oli 8-5, so sweeping aside all the West Country lads. And then impressively beat Sean Chipperfield 8-1 last night. And then, of course, back into the last 16. Has beaten John McAllister, and in the quarter-final, obviously beat Jake McCartney. So he's put in a lot of frames and taken some good sculpts along the way. Oli Bell, of course, the man who knocked out Scott Gillespie. So it's a good little run for him. Yeah,
I think they were playing next to me, actually, when I was playing on Sean's Story yesterday. Ollie and Craig. I think they were about 4 or 5 all at one stage, and Ollie made a couple of errors after that.
Yeah.
But it was a good match early on.
So Karl Boys, as we mentioned, lost his opening game to Craig Lakin. He would have had Ronan McCarthy and loses 2. Well, it was only because Ronan forfeited, so he had a forfeit. Then he beat Ben Flack, which is a very good win against the England international.
Ben had just come off losing a match from 10-5 up to Jimmy Croxton.
Oh, of course he did.
He was on a little bit of a downer for that one, I think. I'm speaking to him, so but yeah, he's still tough to beat.
And then beat Carl O'Donoghue, Steve Petty in the last 16, Craig Marsh, and then Shane Thompson. So some.
Apart from sort of getting the bye against Ronan, you'd have to say that Karl's probably had a harder run on paper in the loser section. Beat some good players to get back in. Yeah,
Steve Petty. I mean, we watched that game, and Steve, of course, was off of the back of a Hill game in winners' qualification against John McAllister, and lost 11-10. So he had to come straight on here and play his losers game, and understandably probably didn't play.
Yeah, he's probably just caught, same as with just saying about Ben, he's caught a couple of people just when they're on a bit of a downer, but still great results. May have to nudge into this yellow now that's on the left-hand cushion. He's left himself a little bit thin on the one to the middle. Don't nudge it down the cushion slightly. Hopefully stay on it for his next shot.
And obviously playing that shot, you're relying a little bit on luck. Is there any value in just maybe taking that yellow now, the one down the rail?
Yeah, there could be if he cues it well. It
doesn't have to do much with the cue ball, does he? Because he's got the one.
I think if the red wasn't right next to it and he could run through and leave the angle to go back up for his yellow he's closest to now, he probably would play that shot. But I think that red's going to affect him getting the angle to get back up the tail, if you see what I mean. So he's playing it now.
Cued it really well.
Yeah. It's just, as I say, it's trickier now to get back up to that ball that's above the middle of the table.
Yeah. Just the wrong side.
In fact, I really think he's struggling to get out here now. He's got to find a little gap to get where he just put his cue then. If he finds it, it'd be a great shot. It's unlucky.
Yeah. If he'd have had a full ball contact on that red, he would have had the yellow to middle, and if he'd have missed it, he'd have had it to bottom corner. So, just
yeah, I think he was sort of struggling from leaving the too thin a cut on his ball to the middle at the top end.
Over in the other game, Jimmy Croxton is currently 3-1 up against Callum Singleton. He was 3-0. Callum's just pulled one back. As I mentioned earlier, both those players will probably feel like they've got a bit of a dog's life. I mean, Callum walked off of his game yesterday with Chris Day wondering how he'd managed to get through.
I watched the end of that actually, Nick, and when I got in last night, and Chris had 3 or 4 chances to get himself over the line there. gutted about that.
Yeah, and Jimmy's probably going to be. I said to him in the interview that they're probably both feeling the same way, because Jimmy, you know, he's been up against it quite a few times.
He's been 10-5 down to Ben, and I think it was something similar to Dom Cooney, wasn't he?
Yeah.
At least once.
Yeah.
I think he beat Dom 11-10 twice, didn't he?
Yeah, he was 8-2 down to Dom in the second game, and then 10-5. So both those players are going to feel almost like they've got their name written on it.
Just might play this off the black here. No, oh, it goes. This red goes. I wasn't sure it went. So it's fine then. Yeah, Craig's had first chance in the last 2 frames and looking like going 4-2 down. He just lost his cue ball slightly. Chasing tricky finishes.
Oh, just off the far knuckle. Jimmy Croxton knows that knuckle well. Mr. Black, the game ball to win his match.
Deck was just talking about that when I walked in, actually. It's, usually you don't get another chance after something like that happens.
No. Declan, I think, I spoke to Declan outside, and he said that when Jimmy missed the black, he felt that the pool gods were on his side, and basically they were going to give it to him there and then. So obviously he came up dry in the decider.
Seventh frame, Karl boys to break, leading by 4 frames to 2. Time running.
Another big break from Karl.
Yeah, he hit them really well. Good spread of balls. I think he just moved the ball slightly, the ref then. Hiya Josh, how far did I get this weekend? I lost in the prelims actually on the winners side to Karl O'Donoghue, and then worked my way back with 3 or 4 wins on the losers, then ended up losing to Sean Story. I think 2 rounds before getting back to the last 16 stage, so that was me done. Missed a few chances this weekend. If this goes, he might just be able to screw into his other bad red and yellow.
So suddenly, that little developing shot, he's given himself a decent chance here.
Yeah, it's turned out quite nice actually. He can. I don't think he can hold this. He'll probably stun out towards the black to leave the yellow at this end into the left middle. And he's played that lovely.
top players, Gaz. I mean, you make these shots down the rails look so easy. Give our viewers a little bit of an insight into you, because I got to say, after event 1, we went and had a knock around on this table, and I sit here and watch hour after hour of pool, and I see players nail balls down the rail like that, and I think, these pockets must be buckets. It's so easy, and I get on there and try and knock one down the row, and I'm missing it, expecting it to go in.
They are probably, because it's got a new cloth on, they are probably slightly more generous than you'd expect on an older table, but they're still missable. You've got to cue them well.
Yeah.
And I think probably your best bet is to play them at a medium pace rather than too hard or too soft. If you play them too soft, sometimes they just hang. If you play them at a medium pace, it's sort of a drop in weight, you'd call it, and they do. If you cue it nicely, they do tend to go. A lot of people play it with just a touch of the opposite side. If it's just off the cushion, if it's touching the cushion, you're probably better playing with a touch of run inside so it hugs.
Oh, really?
But if it's just off, a lot of people play it with maybe a touch of the offside that you'd expect, just to keep it away from the cushion. Because you're always sort of better hitting the jaw away from the cushion rather than hitting the cushion before the pocket, if you see what I mean.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it just keeps it away from the cushion on original impact.
So, if we were looking at the table, if you had a ball on the left-hand rail, if it was on the cushion, you'd play it with a little touch of right-hand side? Just run inside?
Well, depending on obviously where you want the cue ball to go.
Yeah,
but
of course,
that should help it hug.
But let's say it's a black and you're not worried about position.
Just a touch of if it's touching the cushion, just a touch of run inside, yeah.
But if it's just off, then you're using
maybe a touch of left just to keep it away from the cushion on impact, yeah.
Very interesting.
John Rungeon and Pepsi popping up on the chat. Nice to hear from you both. I'm fine, John. Hope you're well, mate. And you, Pepsi.
Yeah,
long time no see.
Pepsi's probably in the middle of a heat wave somewhere in Doha.
Still keeps strong interest in what's going on in
he loves it, doesn't
our
he?
chilly old country, though, doesn't he?
He absolutely loves it. He's over about 3 times a year. And he only comes over. I think he only comes over for a little practice session with Jez Graham and Dan McVicker down in the plaza. I think he flies all the way over here just to play a few frames. Absolutely mad for the game.
Yeah. Definitely passionate about pool.
Yeah. Another big break.
It's a great split.
Look at that.
No clusters at all.
Nothing.
Just what Craig needed, really. Just he's lost the last 3.
I mean, if you were having a little practice session, you just rolled the balls out onto the table because you wanted to just get your arm going. This is pretty much how you leave them.
Yeah. So if you had that break every time, you'd be more than happy.
Yeah.
Not played the best first shot, to be fair, but I think he'll still be fine. Just left himself a little hampered on the long straight one. Yeah, good. I know we've talked about Karl being away from the game for a long time, but I think Craig's had a couple of years off as well before he sort of got back into this last year, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we didn't. After we played the second match, was it the second match against Mark Boyle, the one that they played up in Falkirk, and I think he had a bit of a breakaway. Probably as money matches go, they probably go down. I mean, there's standalone money matches which obviously stand out, but as a pair of money matches, they probably go down as the greatest ones, don't they?
They were great games, weren't they?
I mean, race to 31?
30th, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 30. Race to 30, and I think one of them was 30-29 and the other was 30-28.
Yeah.
So there was just a couple of frames between them over.
That's right. I think the first one we were at the
frames.
tour and people were watching it on the laptops and the phones at the tour while we were playing, and it's just everyone was just raving about how good a game it was.
Yeah, I remember that one was on MMTV, wasn't it? I think it was the old MMTV that they used to have.
Yeah.
And we covered the second game up in Falkirk. In fact, it was myself and George. I don't think Paul was there even, was he? Did you come up? I don't think Paul came to that one, did he? Falkirk? Which was the one that me and George went to on our own? Oh, that was Savannah, was it? All I remember is when we were heading up to Falkirk, George was driving, we got to about Carlisle, and I've probably still got a video on my phone somewhere. I have never seen snow like it. You know, what's the opening credits to one of the, was it Star Wars or something, where you got all the stars coming towards you?
Yeah.
It was like that. It was just blinding, just with lights on dip, you just could not see out the window. How we drove through that, I'd never know. Absolute blizzard.
Lucky you paid a fortune to do this job, innit, Nick?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I took home. Jim Bowen would have said I took my bus fare home that weekend, I think. Yeah, we didn't even get a bus fare, that's true.
No.
Yeah, sometimes you do it for the love of the game, and
Yeah,
that was definitely the love of the game.
Yeah.
That was a great match.
Just noticing, actually, I was talking about Karl breaking with his hand on the table. He was bridging across the cushion there. It's the first time I've really looked closely at his break, but when I've seen him play over the weekend in the arena, he's been bridging with his hand on the table, but trying something different there. And it's a great split again. He's just lost the cue ball a little bit. So he'd obviously like to find a yellow, but it's going to be tricky. He's made the opposite mistake to what you made.
He has,
Pepsi, hasn't he?
Yeah, Pepsi is not. He's not Gareth Potts on commentary today. I think he's away in China at the moment, is he? Yeah,
I'd imagine
he's
so.
away
Yeah,
somewhere
he'd
anyway.
normally be here if he wasn't. Yeah.
Oh, he's on holiday.
No.
Oh, sunning himself on a beach,
Mm.
getting some more calendar photos taken, I suppose. It is Speedos.
What month's that, Nick?
Mr. November. Paul's got his head in his hands at the moment. Guys, is going to give me so much grief over that one. The next event. No, you got the wrong Gareth Pepsi. This one's Mr. Hibbett.
Evening, Pepsi. Yeah, Karl had a go at the cut on the yellow to the middle there because he left himself tricky. He couldn't really go for the reds, and he's missed it, and let Craig have a go at the yellows now. He'd like to have gotten the one on the cushion there, but he's just overrun it a little bit, so he'll have to come back to that one.
Doesn't have to do too much here, does he? You can just run down just above the bulk line, take the other yellow just below the bulk line into the right corner. He just decided to run around the back of it.
Yeah, he's played that well, actually.
Yeah, a bit more angle. It's a better shot actually now because he can just stun across to the one on the side rail.
Never nice, these shots, though, because you know if you just catch it too well, you can screw it off.
Yeah.
Gotta be a little bit careful.
Declan did it earlier.
He was worried about that, and he's not quite got into it enough.
Almost come just a touch too close.
Yeah, the tables are so reactive, and you get a little bit scared of those shots sometimes.
I think he's just far enough away that he can.
This is one that I was just sort of talking about a little while ago, where you probably put a bit of right-hand side on just to keep it away from the cushion.
Yeah. And that's going to help the cue ball anyway, isn't it? There you go, and that's helped it.
Yeah, so he's hit the side cushion there, and normally on an older cloth that may well have stayed out, whereas if you hit the other jaw first, you're more likely to drop.
Oh,
Got away with it that time.
Okay. Yeah. I think he can hold the cue ball here, can't he?
I think he might have to go up and leave a cut on the black, or. Yeah,
Oh, you're right.
Should be fine with that though. Be feeling good to get it back to 5-4 because he's just got away from him for a little while at 5-2.
That's clear.
Yeah.
Back within one frame and back on break as well. He's got the break in the next. James Jack just asking if you're going to be playing on the GB9 next weekend, Gareth?
Hi James, you alright mate? Yeah, I am actually, yeah. I'm giving it a go next week. Don't think I've hit a ball on an American pool table for about 2 years, but I'll hopefully get a little bit of practice this week on a Chinese table, and I'm hoping that makes the pocket seem big when I get there next Friday, but we'll see what happens.
Anyone who can hit back-to-back 147s is going to find it easy enough to pot on those. What have they got, like the diamond tables or something?
Yeah, I think the ones on GB9 are a little bit tighter than the ones you see in the matchroom events. They're obviously nothing like Chinese tables, but they're fairly tight as American tables go, and there is obviously a lot of different skills in the game. It's
I mean, people take 9-ball for granted, and you know, they see the stuff that they, you know, the matchroom stuff, and they just like, oh, they're playing on buckets. There's no skill to the game, but arguably there's more skill to those rotation games, isn't there?
Yeah.
Because you've only got one ball to go for.
exactly. Yeah.
And it's not. I mean, the cue ball is so different that, you know, it's not. You can't play little. In the same way you can with this small ball, you can't control it in the same way. You're using the weight of the cue ball, and you're using side on every shot.
It's more sort of top and running side and getting round cushions, isn't it? Rather than on here, you're sort of taking the pace out of the cue ball and soft screwing shots. And
do you find that transition easy? Because I mean, even with Chinese, it's the bigger ball, and it's a different kind of game, different mindset.
Yeah, just certain shots, Nick. To be honest, when I've played GB9 before, I think I got to the last 16, but it was obviously the break's a lot different. That catches you out, and the jump shots, and the same pocket that's just done him a favour has let him down this time. You hit that one just as well as you hit the last one, but just a slight bit of extra pace has kept it out. But yeah, it's obviously, I'm hoping I won't miss many pots, but it's just the different sides of the game that he's going to play a tactical shot here now, just pot Craig's red with his yellow and hide the cue ball. He's not as good as he would have liked.
No.
Still got to pull out a big shot. Yeah, but the 9-ball players do make it look so easy, but as you say, when you've just got one ball to land on, it's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not. I mean, saying it's more skillful or less skillful, I think that's probably the wrong. I mean, it's just a different type of skill required. And you know, I used to watch 9-ball before I understood it properly. I used to watch 9-ball and see the way, you know, players like Efren Reyes cue with that kind of loopy cue action, and you think, why are they cueing like that? Yeah. Look at Steve Davis, he doesn't cue like that. Look at Stephen Hendry, they're brilliant cueists, but they don't cue like that, so why are you doing it? But actually, they do it for a reason. They're doing it to generate more spin on the ball.
Yeah. You don't have to be as tight with your technique either with the bigger pockets. It does give you a bit, and they're always pinching pockets, and it is more about the cue ball and being able to leave the right angle on every shot.
Yeah. We had a question there from Lee Clough. He asks, "Hi Gaz, why are you so good at everything?" and then he listed 8-ball, like all kinds of pool balls, darts, and
I think, darts is probably the best sport at the minute, the way I'm going on with these balls. Yeah. Cheers, Cloughie. Didn't seem that good this weekend. The 9 ball's just a miss there, so Karl will just place his white to leave this finish as easy as he can. But yeah, the 9 ball's just a bit of fun for me. As I say, Viv's tournament director, so I've nothing else on that weekend, so the good events to play, and it's a nice hotel, and I'll just give it a go and see what it's all about. But the jump shots are massive in that game, and I've never even attempted one. You've got to have the right equipment, really, and it's just... you see even the people who are sort of lowered down the rankings, they'll go out and get the jump cue and pull off a jump shot, and you think to yourself, well, it must be doable, but it's just something you never get to practice, really.
I just wanted to... I watched something the other day that was totally unrelated to pool, and I just want to touch on it a bit because they were talking about mindset. I mean, you've got a pretty good mindset. Okay, I mean, I've seen you get frustrated once or twice, but generally, you've got a pretty good. You know, if it's all going the wrong way, then you can step away from the table and take a breather, and then come back and just reset. Some players not quite so good at that. I watched one of these video logs, the vlogs from YouTube the other day. It was a guy called Daniel Negreanu, which anyone who's ever played poker will know who Daniel Negreanu is. He's probably the most famous poker player, and he did a video log for his 2018 World Series. And basically, the World Series of Poker is a series of about 60 events that goes on over about 6 weeks, and it's an absolute grind. Every day you're playing like 12 hours of poker, and it's you've got to be in the right mindset. You're playing for, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. And you've got to be in the right mindset for so long, like focusing for so long. And in some ways, there's a crossover between that and pool. And he was talking about the mindset, and he said that there's a lot of tournaments that overlap. So on one day, he could be playing day 2 of one event, and if he's short-stacked, it would be easy to think to himself, well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the money, I'm going to take the 10,000 that I need to enter that other event, just in case I go out of that event. And he said, I've learned never to do that. He said, because if I've got that money in my pocket, I'm telling myself that I'm allowed to lose the event that I'm already in. And in some ways, I see that crossover because like, last night, I noticed, I'm not going to mention who it was, but I noticed a pool player turned up here last night to play a losers round game, and he parked his car outside. And he was staying in a hotel here. Now, he'd obviously gone down to the car park and thought, do you know what, I'm going to take my car up there just in case I lose, and then I can just jump in it and drive home rather than have to walk back down to the travel lodge. And that kind of struck a note in me after watching that Daniel Negreanu thing. We're just saying, do not let that negativity enter your head. Do not allow yourself to, because as soon as you've done it, you're beat. And I think that's a really good point. It is
putting bad thoughts in the back of your mind. I sort of had a similar thing, actually, Nick, because on Friday, it's just watch this shot because it's quite tight, I think. It's he's obviously played for him. Oh, he's playing the cocked out. It's close.
It is close, and he's nailed it.
All the way, bang in the middle, that was.
I want to see that one again.
I don't know if he got down there and thought the black's tighter or he was played on the cocked out all the time, but some shot.
Look at this.
Bang in the middle, this is.
What a great shot.
Never in doubt.
That's off the car.
Yeah, what you were just talking about, I had a presentation on Friday night, so I was playing Karl O'Donoghue at 4:30, and the presentation was in Southport, where I'm from originally, an hour and a quarter away from here, and so I was like, if I win that, I was playing again at 8:30, and if I lost it, I wasn't playing till the Saturday. So I'd said to Viv in the morning, if I lose, I might go back to this presentation, because it's a snooker one, and I'd won 2 of the main competitions. So, and she was like, you can't even think like that, you're going to win your match. And as it happened, I lost, and I just didn't really feel up to going back anyway, so I didn't go back. But it was a similar thing to what you're just talking about. She's like, you shouldn't even be mentioning that. You should be going there to win. And
But it was interesting, like I say, all he had to do, like, because they pay in poker chips basically, like cash chips, and he said all I had to do was pick up like 2 5K chips and put them in my pocket. But as soon as those chips are in my pocket and I'm sat at the table playing one event, I know that I've resigned myself to the fact that I'm going to buy into the next one because I've taken the money with me. So he said I will not even allow myself to take the money with me. So he said, I don't even think like that now. Just stop myself from doing it. And because of that, he has a lot more success. And as I say, there is a crossover because mindset plays a massive part in this game. Like that, I would say okay, there's a huge element of skill, but it doesn't matter how skillful you are if you haven't got the mindset right between your ears.
Yeah.
Like it's probably 75% of the game in reality.
It is, and you can sort of equate it to poker a little bit, and the amount of luck that comes into play. You can do everything right, but if the balls or the cards don't want you to win.
Well, there you go, right there. I mean,
Yeah.
a great break, and he's gone dry.
Exactly.
You'd
You'd hope in the poker tournament of that distance and that you'd get your even run of luck, and in the first to 11 these tournaments you'd hope the same. But a lot of the tournaments you play in the first to sixes, first to sevens, and you might not even get a go at the table in some of those matches at this level. The amount of comebacks you see now, I think players do have a good mindset. They just think, I've not really made many mistakes. There's so many dishes. You found yourself 5-1, 6-1 down, but you've not really done a lot wrong. You just have to think to yourself that the balls are going to start going your way and give you a chance to turn it around. And we've seen a lot today, haven't we?
Yeah. Yeah, loads. You know, there's some players who are noticeably more emotional than others. You know, probably most recognisably, we'd see someone like Craig Marsh blow up at times. You know, a brilliant player, but sometimes you know you can see him banging his cue on the floor and shaking his head. Sheppy does the same thing. Sometimes I've seen him sweep the table and you know, I mean, it's funny because. I think we said about Declan Brennan during event 1, you know, the perfect example was someone who rarely shows emotion. Okay, he showed a little bit of frustration in his last game, but you can rarely get a read off of his face because, you know, he just keeps it inside.
Probably the one you'd pick out the most more than anyone at the moment is Liam Dunster, isn't it?
Yeah, Liam. Yeah.
He's the same on every shot.
Yeah. And you know, people call that boring. I mean.
Not at all. It's working for him, isn't it? I'm sure he's.
How can you call just because someone, you know, has a different personality and somebody, you know, plays in that kind of almost robotic way? There's no way that's boring. Just left this one a bit short.
Yeah, I think you can just hold on the red and the black goes in the middle. So just the white should stop on the red.
Perfect.
Keeps getting himself back within one.
Yeah, he's staying in touch, doing what he needs to do.
Yeah, so. Karl pulled out that massive shot on the black and he's dry broke and left Craig those balls. So suddenly we're back to within one. Yeah, it's just talking about people. There's actually a video of my break cue flying across the room in this club. Nick, one of Michael Howard, who used to work behind the bars, got a video. I think it was in the warm-up competition we had when we first tried Supreme Rules. I was playing Ronan in either the quarters or the semis and just dry broke in the deciding frame and just left them ridiculously easy. And I've like underarm my break cue and it's gone flying across the room. And they've got it on CCTV and he's kept it on his phone. He showed it me at the last event. It's like a little missile. It banged into the wall about 20 yards away. So yeah, like you say, most of us have got it in us.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's a will to win,
do those sort of things.
Yeah. I mean, but it's a will to win, isn't it? I mean, we've all got that will to win, but just some people express it differently.
Yeah.
You know?
You wouldn't get to this level if you didn't have the will to win.
Yeah.
And competitive edge that you need.
So again, back on break, and Craig breaks off in frame number 12.
Looking dry. Mr. Howard might be listening, actually. He might be about to send a video.
Yeah, I'm expecting something to ping in my inbox any second.
Just overrun that by a couple of inches. He'd like to have been straight on this one to the top left corner. Just left a little awkward queuing. Not looking like missing Karl, is he? He's playing good solid pool.
Yeah.
Just got to work out these two in the bottom left, really, because you want to take the one nearest the pocket first, but it's going to be hard to get out of that, so he may have to play a plant. Try a little developing shot. It's not too bad, that, actually, because you can maybe come back to that and now take the other yellow into the middle. Gets rid of the two at the other end. You see that will play the plant.
Plant's tricky, isn't it? With the ball on the rail, they need great judgment.
Yeah, it's definitely not a gimme. Playing it though. Yep.
Shot.
Never in doubt.
Frame at his mercy now. Quick look across at the other table, and we can see that Jimmy Croxton is leading Callum Singleton 7-3. I think Callum would have been a lot of people's favourite in that game. But Jimmy, it just keeps going.
Just overdone that one slightly. Wanted to be straight on the yellow to the top corner there, but yeah, Jimmy's queuing well. He obviously it's his local club and he knows these tables like the back of his hand. So he's just got
Just
there. I
there,
thought
yeah.
that was going to be short at first.
Yeah. Can run around a couple of cushions, probably come up behind the...
I think he's going to just play it a bit thick and check it past the red, and sort of stun with left hand side to check it back up. Yeah, he's played it lovely.
Yeah, perfect. Very nice. This is good stuff from Karl.
He's hardly made any mistakes that I've seen so far.
He said that he's had a Racing table installed in his house, English 8-ball table in the house, so he's obviously been putting in some time on it. He tried telling me that it's always full of covered in kids' clothes and laundry, but I'm not having it. You don't just turn up to an event and start beating the players he's beating without putting in some time.
He's probably, I'm sure he's keeping his arm going a little bit. He used to have the club in Blackpool actually, but I think he's sold that now. So.
Yeah.
Frame, Karl balls to break, leading by 7 frames to 5. Time running.
Another dry break. Been a bit of a feature. But, Craig would be very happy to get a chance. Wouldn't have wanted to go 3 behind now.
Yeah, just one tricky red.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how straight he is on this one down to the bottom left now to screw into that now.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what he's looking at.
Just wants to be just off straight and screw through the gap.
Oh, he's missed it.
Overdid it anyway, really. That was always the danger.
Yeah.
Now he's left the yellows for Karl. I think Karl will change the plan and go for yellows now, I would have thought.
Wonder if there was there no value in just maybe leaving that till late and doubling it?
Yeah, I think because it was so tight to the cushion, sometimes the doubles you've got to be bang on them when they're tight on the cushion.
Makes it a bit tricky, doesn't it?
I was watching a bit of one of the games you were showing earlier, I think the Josh Kane match, and there seemed to be a lot of doubles played in that match. Just everybody's different, really. Some people I'd rather just play on a ball down a cushion and try and land on it, but I think because we play on so many different style tables and cloths now, doubles play a little bit different, so you guess a little bit more now. You're coming off the blue cloth and the green cloth and different, and obviously this grey cloth, and I think on the blue cloth the angles come off slightly different, so you don't sort of have those shots as guaranteed anymore now, because each table just seems to play a little bit different. Got to cue this one a little bit. Sometimes you don't get through these and just don't get across. Yeah, he's played it well.
So he's going to be looking to land on this last yellow, isn't he? If he can land behind it, he's he just needs to drop it down the rail, and the black's going to be there waiting for him. And
he's going to leave a little bit of distance by the looks of that. He can probably just get between the line and the pocket, maybe.
Just doesn't want to be hampered. Think he's okay?
Yeah, it's a tough shot.
It is tough. But nothing to do with the white, which helps. So you just drop it in. I didn't play that well.
Just never in doubt again, just bang in the middle of the pocket.
Cueing really well.
It's probably a fair score at the minute, the amount of mistakes that each player's made. Craig's had a few chances and not taken them. And
so Jimmy's now 8-3 ahead against Callum Singleton. RK180 asking why aren't Appleton and Hill in this. Mick Hill is currently away. I know he was in Australia. Whether he's still on his travels, I'm pretty sure he is. And Darren Appleton, he decided that his heart was in 9-ball, and he went across to the States to. I think his longer term ambition is to try and get back in the Moscone Cup, in the Moscone team. So I know he went across to the States, and I think he planned to play a few events and do some coaching. He was planning to go up to Canada to do some coaching around there. And then he had a bereavement in the family, in the close family, so he's had to return to sort out some things at home. So we hope he's well anyway. I haven't seen much of him, to be honest. Normally see a bit of him on social media or something, but hopefully all's well with Darren. One of the good guys of the game, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And in his little spell back, he made himself a few quid, didn't he, by getting to the final of the grand final last year. So it was worth his while. Ooh, disaster.
Yeah. Breaks just aren't going either way, are they?
No, they're not.
And that 3-frame lead, the way Karl's playing, could quickly be a 4-frame lead, and you struggle to find a way back then, don't you? It's,
it's the way Karl's playing, like you say, he's just not making those mistakes, is he?
No.
Wonder if he's got a shot to play the red. Yeah, just he's looking at it now, just to play that in off the yellow to open this pocket up, and maybe nudge the yellow down to open his other red up.
Julie Kemp's asked a question, guys. She said, do you find that as you that you get more tired as you get a bit older? I'm not saying, I mean, you're still a young man, obviously, but not suggesting for a second. I mean, you're obviously still in your 20s, but do you think? Let's put it like this: do you think you'll get more tired as you get older?
It's a good question, actually. Probably.
She said, I mean, obviously, stamina is a major thing. People need to try and keep a bit fit, don't they? And you know, you're in pretty good shape. So
Yeah, you do. She's right. Actually, you do throw the odd tired shot in, and that can cost you matches at this level. You just maybe just one or two shots you don't concentrate on as well as you should do, and suddenly you've lost a frame you should have won, and that's going to be the difference at the end of the match. So yeah, it's a good point. I'm still think I'm queuing as well as ever, but it's just maybe the odd little lack of concentration here and there.
Yeah.
Probably could put a bit more time in, and it's just different things. There's a lot of good players out there. It's just,
Of course, yeah.
Any tournament at this level to win is very tough.
Yeah.
Just, I think obviously with the changes of rules and the equipment's just changed little bits over the years. I think I know people say the sort of glory days of pool was probably 15 years or so ago, but I do think there's more dishes now than there ever has been.
Yeah.
Especially sort of go down the rankings slightly.
That was a nice shot there by Karl. Just controlled it well. Anticipated where that red was going, and now he's just left this straight red. Probably just off straight. He would have liked it to have been straight, wouldn't he? Because he could have just played a.
I think he's virtually straight. He'll just probably screw it back 3 inches maybe.
Yeah.
Just take the black to the opposite top corner.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very good. 9-5.
Everything's bang in the middle of the pocket, isn't it? He's not wobbling any in. They're just all flying straight in the middle.
Yep. So Karl Boyes at the moment looking favourite to make this final.
14 frames, an hour and 15 minutes as well. That's not bad going, is it?
It's really quick. When, you know, we've had some matches lasting 3 hours. It's a really good standard. So it looks like, unless Craig can make a big comeback, and Callum can make a even bigger comeback, it looks like it's going to go Jimmy Croxton and Karl Boyes in the final. Because Jimmy's just gone 9-3 up. Both needing 2 more for the win. I mean, it's going to be a big effort for Craig to win 6-1 from here.
Yeah, and just before I left, you interviewed Karl and Jimmy, didn't you? And you actually said some any chance of it being the final, and it's looking like you called it right, Nick.
Yeah.
Black's in.
Black's in.
It's no bother.
Yeah, just gets respotted.
Sounded a bit of a thud, that actually. Like they didn't, but they've split lovely.
Yeah, look at these yellows.
Yeah, beautiful. The way he's playing, you just can't see him missing these, can you?
No. And I do like that about these rules. Spot the
definitely.
spot the black. I mean, why? You know, there's nothing worse than putting 3 or 4 balls of black going in and having to re-rack them.
Yeah.
And equally, you know, if you do go dry, you know, I mean, basically the black's just coming back up. So if you go dry, your opponent comes to the table in the same way as if you'd have gone dry anyway. I mean,
it is a good rule. That I totally agree. And funnily enough, though, that's when you play in China, and I'd imagine America as well. If you pot the black and no other balls, that's classed as a break as well, where you carry on.
Yeah.
So Lee's just tweak that one a little bit, and I think this is better. So you've got a pot of a yellow or red with the black to keep control.
Yeah.
Whereas in China, not 100% sure about American rules, but in China, if you pot the black, you carry on at the table.
No, I'm not keen on that. You shouldn't keep control, I don't think. Oh, this has gone wrong.
His first mistake for a little while. He didn't play his first shot too well. Left it a bit trickier than.
He was just hoping for another half a roll out of that yellow, or even quarter roll, just to leave a makeable plant. But I don't think these.
No, all he can do now is pot the long one and try and cut the one in the middle to to open them up, I think. But then the black only goes to the left middle, really, so it's going to be tough to get on the black even if he gets a split.
He's cueing so well.
Yeah, it's great angle he's left.
He's cueing as well as I've seen anyone. Oh, he's just okay, is he?
Yeah, I think he's on both of them, actually.
He's on both, yeah.
He may be able to soft screw the one to the corner pocket, as we see, and just leave a cut to the other corner, maybe to go into that gap for the black to the middle. Just screwing this on and off. Perfect again.
Just making the game look easy at the moment.
Quite a big area to land in, really. He's got probably a foot to land in where he'll have a decent shot. Bit short, maybe. No, he's fine.
Nice, fine. Very nice. This is really impressive from Karl, boys. This black took him on the hill.
Yeah, he made a slight positional mistake, but
he just looks really
retrieved
comfortable,
it.
doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he doesn't look like missing. Shaking his head there because he'd made a little mistake. First.
That's what you call a perfectionist.
Yeah.
Frame, Waddingham to break, trailing by 10 frames to 5.
Oh no. Straight in off that time.
Yeah, 2 on the bounce.
Yeah.
I think might be getting a handshake in about 2.5 minutes.
John Vaughan asked a question, Gaz. He said, do you think the quality of the players now, on the whole, are better than ever, so comps are harder to win? Do you think generally the field is tougher than it might have been like 10 or 15, 20 years ago?
I think there's obviously these tournaments you get people from both tours playing, so these are really tough. The tours are quite evenly split. You've always had splits in pool, because obviously all the Scottish and a lot of the best Welsh players used to play on different tours and things like that, so we've always had some kind of split, so it's nothing new, but this event brings everyone together. I just think lower down the rankings you got probably more players ranked maybe 60, 70, 80 or even lower that can, on the day, can reel off 4 or 5 dishes as well. And in a 1st to 7 match, that's usually enough to win it. I think it's just the mindset's a little bit different now. It's all about trying to clear the table. Don't get me wrong, when probably Darren and Mick were playing at the best and Phil 10, 12 years ago, whatever it was, I don't know if there's anyone playing at that level now. There's probably people very close to it. Probably a lot of people, because there's loads of people hardly miss, so they can't be far away from it, can they? But they were just so consistent in those days. was probably easier to dominate in those days. You probably had 4 or 5 people that would dominate in pool more, whereas nowadays you look at a tournament and you can probably reel off 15 names that could win it.
Yeah. So, looking good for the clearance here. Some just needs to cue the last couple of balls well.
Yeah, I think he might just screw this and come between the black and yellow to leave the, hopefully, leave the red straight to the top left corner.
Yeah, somewhere just left of where he is now would be.
Yeah, it depends. If he's a touch thin on it, he'll just go straight up to the left of the black, and it gives him options as well. Looks like he's screwing it though. Nicely done. Just nudge the yellow away, I think. Just leave him a nice angle on his last red.
Lovely. It's been a masterclass. Not much Craig Waddingham's been able to do about this.
No.
Really good.
Yeah, he played really well. Well deserved.
So over in the other semi, Callum Singleton now trailing 9-4. He's pulled a frame back, but in this game, it's Karl Boyce who cements his place in the final. And congratulations to Craig Waddingham on another great performance, reaching the semi-final. We'll see him at event 3. Gaz, been a pleasure. Hopefully you're sticking around for the final, are you?
Yeah, I was just thinking, I hope Callum comes on a bit of a comeback there so I can get some dinner, and then I'll be back for the final.
Yes, thanks very much. Much
Cheers,
appreciated.
All right.
So we're going to try and catch up with Karl. Whether we do an interview with him now or whether we wait and interview both players before the start of the final, I'm not sure, but we'll make a decision in a minute. And we'll see you shortly. Tune in for the final.